Good morning once again, and welcome to the LSF webinar, which will be focusing on the midterm evaluation of the intervention that has been implemented by Legal Services Facility from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I would like to appreciate the presence of different participants who have joined us today from different countries, from different government ministries, and our development partners. To start with, let me recognize the presence in this webinar of our representative from the Ministry of Constitution and Legal Affairs from Tanzania. I would also like to appreciate the presence of our different development partner, DFID, European Union, DANIDA, and KPMG. Joined by me in this room together is our Chief Executive Officer, Madam Lulu Mwanakilala. Please, you are welcome. Thank you. Thank you, and karibu sana, our dearest Chief Executive Officer of the Legal Services Facility. I would also like to invite our consultant, Dr. Frank Theodori, the senior lecturer from University of Mzumbe, at his young age, also heading the research and the publication unit. Together with the two colleagues here, I would like also to appreciate the presence of our different members of the team from the Legal Services Facility who have made this webinar a success today. The first is my dearest sister, Jenny Matinde, our Business Development Manager, Saidi Chitung, our Monitoring and Research Manager, Scholastica Julu, the Director of Programs, and together with the team of the LSF management, we are also joined by our two board members. Yes. Our two board members, the former board chair, Dr. Benson Bana, and our current board chair, Madam Bengisa. So you are most welcome. But again, I would like to appreciate those different participants who have joined us today from Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Zambia, Rwanda, Burundi, and our colleague from USA, United States of America, representing one of our best partner, Dakota, and many more who have joined us today. Without wasting our time, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Madam Lulu Mwanakilala, the LSF's Chief Executive Officer, for an opening remark.
We're here today because the Access to Justice program that we have been implementing in the second phase of this program, which started since 2016, has in 2019, in June 2019, the Access to Justice program had come to the halfway point, which is the 2.5 years of a 5-year program. And we felt that it would be very important for us, as much as we could see major achievements everywhere that we went, and we could see that we were able to reach and we were able to receive the impact and the results that we wanted, but we could also see some challenges. We could also see some lessons that could be picked out of this program, and we felt that it would be very important for us to make sure that we are reviewing and evaluating the program, so that to assess first and foremost the effectiveness of the program, to assess the implementation of this program halfway through, and that is why it's the midterm evaluation of the program, to assess whether or not we were able to achieve the performance levels that we had set out for ourselves at the beginning of this program, but to look at the achievements and also to look at the challenges, as well as to assess the lessons learned. And the reasons for this is to look at the impact of the program and potential sustainability as well of this program. So we felt that it was important for us to review all of these factors so that they can inform implementation in the next phase, in the final stages of this 5-year program. So the results of this program, of this evaluation, the recommendations that come out of this evaluation, with the best practices that we have seen, will then inform not only the second half of the program, but also the next phase, the possible next phase, and the phase after that, so that we can ensure that we maintain our successes, we address the challenges, but also we use the best practices and also the lessons learned to develop this program further. So without further ado, I would like to thank everybody who took part in this process. It was a very engaging process that involved everybody from the grassroots levels from the ground all the way to the national level. All of our stakeholders who were there with us, who supported us, who were part of this process, who enabled us to successfully implement the midterm evaluation of our program, and to the consultants as well, to the team at the LSF, our paralegals, and also our beneficiaries as well, our partners in the ministries, and everybody else who was instrumental in getting us to this point today. My role today was to give a bit of a background, to get us into the mindset of the program, of the midterm evaluation, to introduce the midterm evaluation, and to ensure that we're all on board in terms of what it is we wanted to achieve, and also to request every one of us to go through this process as the consultant is presenting the findings and also the recommendation, to see whether or not we were able to achieve what we set out to achieve, and also to be able to share, to give our opinions in terms of what we think are the best ways forward, based on the recommendations that are going to be provided by the consultant.
And without wasting time, I would like now to take this opportunity to welcome the lead consultant, Dr. Frank Theodori, the senior lecturer and the head of research and publication from Mzumbe University, based in Morogoro, Tanzania, for a presentation of the findings and the recommendations that has come out of the midterm evaluation that has been done by LSF. Karibu sana daktari.
So we did this midterm evaluation toward the ends of 2019 until the beginning of 2020. And it took us almost 4 years, 4 months, sorry. And we started with data correction, and then data analysis, and then we were working on the report that was in the form of back and forth. So we had to work closely with the program management team at LRCF to provide us with the inputs and to furnish us with the reports, the annual reports, and the other relevant document to enrich our report. So this is a report that I have to present before you. And to start with, the LSF Access to Justice program has been implemented since 2016, and the program mainly focusing on increasing access to justice to all people, and with specific focus to women, children, men, and the vulnerable groups, including those people living with HIV/AIDS. And this evaluation of the second phase of the program of the 5 years, and as the CEO has said in her keynote, that we are in halfway of the implementation of the program. So this program is supported by the different development partners, and such as the DANIDA, TFID, European Union, through a basket fund. So this report presents the findings of the midterm evaluation conducted to inform the second part of the implementation cycle for program improvement. So we were guided by so the main focus was to examine the performance of the program against the planned results, what was being planned and what has been implemented in this halfway of the project implementation. And so we had to examine the preliminary indication of the potential impact and sustainability of the results, including the contribution of the capacity development on legal aid, achievement of sustainable development goals, and other national strategies such as the Tanzania Development Vision 2025, National Plan of Action to End Violence Against Women, Children, and the Legal Aid Act of 2017. That was actually being the process of having this ratified was spearheaded by the LRCF. In order to have the validity of the data, we had to triangulate different data so that, okay, we reach into a consensus that, okay, that if a certain information was coming from a certain group, maybe the LMO, and another information was coming from the paralegals, then we had to triangulate this information so that what we document in the report are really authentic. So we did not rely on a single source. We had a multiple source of information and triangulate different source of information for validity. So the analysis part, how did we process and analyze the information collected? You know, it was really tedious, because analyzing the information collected entirely the country from 28 regions, from 56 districts, from 112 wards. It was not a joke. It was really a tedious work. So we had to design a system that would would help us to have a clear and relevant information for the LRCF. So for the analysis of the qualitative data, we used the content analysis, and that was preceded by identifying the particular themes, and these themes were mainly focusing on the indicators that was LSCF was using as a guide toward the implementation of the Access to Justice program. So we developed a theme, and then we did coding, and then developed the quotations were developed out from these themes. And then for the quantitative analysis, we used SPSS. Yeah, so there are a few limitations, of course. You know, this was a study, and any research limitations are there. So you cannot learn from the limitations. And few limitations, but in some villages, it was difficult to obtain a minimum number of participants for FGD. As I have said, that in such circumstances, we had to do a group interviews. And in other places, local leaders were not informed in advance about the evaluation exercise. Yeah, there's a communication brokerage between the LMOs and the local authorities. And so all this delayed the evaluation in some words, because the evaluation team had to consult LMO to clear out this miscommunication with local authorities. So the findings. The findings have shown that LOSF Access to Justice program has been successful in calculating a catch of legal seeking behavior to local communities in matters relating to justice and human rights. So before the inception of LOSF program of Access to Justice, yeah, people were not much aware with access to justice. But due to legal empowerment through legal education, people now are much aware of their rights. They know where to go to report any issue, where to go and seek for their justice. So this is quite a credit for LOSF. And most of community members are currently aware of their legal rights and available channel to obtain justice. And this is evidenced from increasing number of respondent cases, including those which existed for a long time. So in recent years, there is a tendency of reporting the legal problems to different channels. When you go to police, there is an increase of the reported legal problems. To the ward offices, to village offices, this is because of the legal empowerment that have been done by LOSF. Also, there was much consensus among stakeholders that access to justice, access to legal aid services has improved since the implementation of the LOSF Access to Justice program. Yeah, you know, in the past it was difficult for especially the vulnerable people, poor people, to get access to justice, because access to justice was something maybe for the people who are well off with money. They can just get easily access to justice. But those people who had no in good financial position, it was really difficult to access justice. But now, because of the sensitization that have been made by LOSF, because of the testimonies that have been provided or testified by those people who have been assisted, the clients, so this has really increased the awareness of the community, and there is an increase of the reported legal problems, and also the number of people who access to justice also have increased. For instance, regions visited, there were functional regional mentors organizations, and every district visited, there were active legal units. So you can see that also this has really helped people to get access to justice, because every paralegal unit, there is paralegals who are scattered in villages, in wards, working with the community, trying to conscientize the community, try to educate them, try to instruct them the proper channel to report their legal-related problems. This really has improved the access to justice issues in Tanzania. And it's really helpful to the government, because the government had a burden There were a lot of claims before the inception of the LRCF program that their rights were denied, but nowadays, people really testify that LRCF has been really helpful program for us. Also, in terms of cost, the program has also reduced the cost of seeking justice through the use of LMOs and paralegals. Most key informants responded admitted that it is less costly to channel legal problems through paralegals. Yeah, so this, you can see that in the past it was really difficult someone to access access to justice because of the costs involved in the process of getting your justice, of getting your rights, because you had maybe to pay for the advocate. So with access to justice program, this has been really simplified, and the people can be assisted by the paralegals who are well trained, and they are quite conversant with the legal issues, and they have been really helpful to the local communities. And in fact, there is a strong trust among community members that the use of paralegal will lead into timely attainment of legal justice and at the lowest cost. Yeah, this has been testified by those who have benefited from the service that has been provided by the Access to Justice program. The time span in accessing the justice, it has been reduced. It has been relatively short to compare with other access to justice schemes, like maybe judiciary. And here, the good thing that people, they just negotiate themselves, they agree themselves, they reach consensus within a short time, and everything is being solved, and people access, reclaim recover their lost assets, other issues. Also, this has influenced cost-effective utilization of legal aid services, particularly to paralegals. And okay, so we wanted also to know what was the major legal problems to the community. So the main reported legal problems has continued to increase, over time. For instance, in the annual reports data, it indicates that in 2016, the reported problem, 95% of the target population reported cases to paralegals. Also, with the majority, 52 of the were from women, and 48 were from women. So you can see there is an increase of reported legal problems to paralegals. That is according to the annual report of 2016. And when we try to make a comparison with the findings from the midterm evaluation, it indicates that there is an increase of reported legal problems to paralegals. In the reported period of 2017, the direct legal aid assistance was provided to 64,075 clients. That and for men was 29,824, and for women was 34,181, which was equivalent to 106% of the 2017 annual target of 60,000. So you can see that's a really quite improvement in terms of reported legal problems, that the target was to reach at least 60,000, but you can see that about 64 and 75 were the reported legal problems. In 2018, 76,513 clients were served by the paralegals, with men that were 38 and 415, and the women were 38 and 98, which again is over the target of 70,000 clients. As indicated in the table 1, the cumulative analysis of 1,646 respondents from 26 regions of mainland and 2 from Zanzibar indicates that most of the respondents, that was 50% and 79, interviewed during the study have reported their cases to paralegal. As indicated in figure 2, most reported legal cases were civil cases, not adequately disclosed which kind of civil, but followed by the land disputes and the matrimonial cases, that was 90%. So here is a table indicating the reported cases until the moment when we did this evaluation. And another one is, this is what the forms, I mean, the kind of reported legal problems, the civil cases were reported in big number as compared to other cases. So the cumulative analysis further showed that females are more in reporting certain type of cases when compared to men. And as shown in figure 2, females were leading in reporting issues related to separation or divorce, child maintenance, inheritance, gender-based violence, beating by husband, wife, women, and men and sexual violence, rape, while male was leading in reporting that the disputes on threats, theft, and the other civil issues. That's really obvious in African context. You know, women are vulnerable and they have been really like a marginalized group. So they reported more cases as compared to men. And the findings support the findings, these findings support the findings from the outcome survey that was conducted in 2018 that showed that out of 306 respondents, separation, divorce cases were mainly reported by female. And while most of the land disputes were reported by male, as indicated in figure 3. Yeah, of course, that's because of the traditional setup that the male are entitled for inheritance. So land is among of the assets that have been mostly inherited in African context. That's why the male were reporting most of the cases related to rent issues. So this is indicated in this figure. Satisfaction of legal aid service by paralegals. We wanted to know to what extent the community were satisfied with the services provided by the paralegal. So most of the key informants and the respondents have expressed their satisfaction with the services provided by the paralegals. In general, the increased access to legal aid services has empowered community members, particularly women, children, and other vulnerable groups to seek for legal rights. And most have been successful, as indicated by few success stories documented during the study. However, more legal education is still needed to reach more community members and enhance utilization of the available legal services. Even though it seems to have, the program have created huge awareness that now different groups of the community members are aware where to report, where to channel their legal problems, but still LOSF has to make sure, needs to make sure that they reach wider community, especially to those wards without paralegal services. So there is still a significant amount of community members who are less aware of existence of paralegals and other legal channel as demonstrated by non-clients. Those non-clients, especially those who were residing in wards without paralegals. So what the contribution of the program to national agenda? Also, we wanted to know that there are different national agendas that have been proposed by the government. So there is government priorities, and we wanted to know from the respondents from different development partners, from LSF themselves, what is the contribution of the program to the national agenda. LSF Access to Justice program seems to respond to the national agenda enshrined in the Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania. Its intervention are also aligned to existing national frameworks, such as the Legal Aid Act of 2017, National Plan of Action to End Violence Against Women and Children of 2017, 2018, and 2021, 2022, and the National Gender Policy, just to mention the few. These are the main national agendas or national strategies that the LSF initiative is building on. So this is quite a credit to LSF, and that's why the government is really supporting the program. It is important to note that the program did not only align its intervention to existing national priorities as stipulated in various legal rights guidelines and the frameworks, but it has facilitated the development and review some of these documents. For instance, LSF has spearheaded and facilitated the development of Legal Aid Act. So this was really a huge contribution. And LSF has just program seems to respond to national, no, this is next slide. So these documents have been instrumental in formalizing the legal aid system and creating more conducive environment for legal aid providers. And it supported, LSF supported the enactment process of Legal Aid Act of 2017 for mainland and the Legal Aid Act of 2018 of Zanzibar, which regulates the legal aid provision in the country. The facilitation on uptake the legal aid system to key government officials at all levels, that was made by the LSF. And at national level, there is a close working relationship between LSF Access Justice Program and the government officials. LSF has signed a memorandum of understanding with Minister of Health, Children, Gender, and Community Development, and it is in the process to sign MOU with the President Office, regional and local government, that the Minister of the President Office, and LSF Access Justice Program use the LMO and the paralegal in enhancement access to justice through provision of legal education and the legal aid services. The program has strengthened the legal aid system through capacity building of LMOs and the paralegals, and this includes enabling LMO and the paralegals to establish their income generating activities. And this is very important for sustainability because we want, I think that the focus of LSF would wish to see that access to justice programs, activities should continue to be there even during at the ending phase of the program. So they have capacitated these paralegals to have income generating activity that will make them to sustain even in the absence of the funding from LSF. And although, I mean, for the issue of the grant making modality, how was the grant making modality was working? Was it, we wanted to know whether this model of grant making, just giving money to the LMOs and the LMOs give the money to the paralegal, was it really working? Was it working? So we wanted to get the perspective of the stakeholders. So the grant-making modality were conceived to be a good, as it facilitates timely disbursement of funds, and the funds are directed to the planned intervention to reach the target beneficiaries. The use of LMO as a sub-grantee to contract paralegal was conceived as a relevant and useful approach for monitoring and accountability, since the use of LSF technical team would have been difficult to manage and follow up and ensure accountability to all paralegal units in the country. Imagine there are paralegal units in every district. So it would be very difficult for the LOSCF to manage all paralegals. So using the LMO approach as sub-grantee, it was really helpful. There is a concern that much of the program money remains at the LMO than it should have been. However, the said monies that was for capacity building and mentorship. So that claim that came from the paralegals and the other government stakeholders that the money would be better be channeled directly to paralegals. But I think the money that was remaining there at the LMOs was mainly for capacity building. Without capacitating these paralegals, then I don't think if LSF would have achieved what they have achieved so far. So in view of the key informant, there is a need for revision to enhance efficiency in the use of program fund. Yeah. So there was also a concern that the distribution of fund to paralegals units should be done on equity basis and not for equality basis, as it is currently practiced. For instance, all paralegal units receive a flat rate of 80 million per year, regardless of the area coverage. And the equity basis will ensure streamlining the impact of the program. On the issue of monitoring and evaluation, we have noticed that HelloSafe collects both routine and periodic information. Routine information is collected through web-based system designed for that purpose. The system were conceived to be good and user-friendly. However, some concerns were raised that require attention. The web-based require availability of internet services, while in some areas there is still no internet connectivity, and in other areas internet connectivity was reported to be unstable. Though LSF has developed an offline, which is really helpful for reporting. So it was expressed by both LMO and the paralegal that the field form in the web-based system is too long and detailed to the extent they feel less motivated to fill it. It is tedious for them to fill the web-based form. LSF has prepared a template that has been useful to both paralegals and LMO in preparing a comprehensive and quality report. However, frequent change of template were raised as a concern that create chaos to users, as it's sometimes shared at the mid of or toward the end of the quarter to be used in the relevant quarter. According to the key informants from LSF, frequent changes of the template was due to the adhering the requirements of the LSF of the Legal Aid Act of 2017 that required some key issues be added on the template. Collaboration with partners. There is quite an improvement in terms of partnership with different interested stakeholders. And LSF has 3 donors. There is DANIDA, DFID, and the European Union. And DANIDA is conceived as a champion of LSF Access to Justice program and has facilitated securing DFID and European Union support for the program. DANIDA serves as both donor and observer for the program. It participates in LSF governing board in annual general meetings and conduct follow-up visits in order to observe the actual implementation of on the ground. All these has enabled DANIDA to continuously provide technical advice that was conceived by the program secretariat to be very useful and has greatly contributed to the success of the program. DFID also played an observatory role since the establishment of this program. Recently, DFID has changed the grant transfer modalities by engaging KPMG as a grant manager of the LOSF Access to Justice Program. In this arrangement, DFID is no longer transferring fund directly to LOSF. Rather, the fund is now being transferred through KPMG. The step in of KPMG as a partner for LOSF LOSF Access to Justice Program, adding more value to the program. DFID, KPMG have also included LOSF staff in all relevant capacity building trainings. Observably, the interaction between LOSF and donors was very good, and further strengthening and interactions is needed to enhance more support from existing donors and attract additional donor support. The recommendations. LOSF Access to Justice Program have made remarkable improvement of the legal aid service in Tanzania, and the proposed for more improvement are very much promising. The following recommendations are put forward for improvement of the program. 1, competence and retention of paralegals. This has been, there is a paralegal dropout. So there is a need to maintain the paralegals so that they cannot run out of the program. Awareness and legal empowerment, unreported legal cases, integration of access to justice program into government planning process. There should be equity distribution of funds to paralegals. There should be generation of policy brief and flyers to enhance use of LOSF access to justice program. This is very important that LOSF has done a number of studies, a number of baselines, even like this midterm evaluation. There is good information that can be scribbled and put into a policy brief and shared to different interested stakeholders like the member of parliament, representative elected leaders like councillors. That will really help LOSF to disseminate what they are doing. Also, more collaboration with government institutions at all levels should be enhanced. Establishment of local level platform for discussion of program issues and the planning will strengthen the coordination. And capacity of LOSF needs to be further strengthened to be able to apply for more funding and manage the increasing amount of grants over time. So here, this is one of the among of the success stories we managed to capture. And from the photo, as you can see, this is an old woman in Babati whose land was confiscated by one of the neighbors who actually visited that old woman and they requested a piece of land to cultivate. And that old woman gave the person the land. But after some time, the guy claimed the land to belong to himself. So LOSF intervened the whole issue, and you can see that the old woman is happy that she has managed to recover her lost land. Another success story that was from Korogwe. And there was a woman who was, her husband died many years ago. And someone who was entrusted with the responsibility for inheritance, he confiscated all the assets and he made all the assets belongs to him. And you can see there were a lot of cows. This is the milling machine. There was also the house. So all the assets, he confiscated all the assets. And that where woman decided to follow, to table the issue to different legal channels, but she was not successful until LOSF stepped in through paralegals who assisted her to recover all lost assets. So this was really a credit to LOSF. Thank you very much for your attention. Asante sana.
I would like to invite a representative from Mokra. If you can hear me, please. I would like to give you this first opportunity for your comments or reaction against this presentation. If you can hear me, a representative from Mokla, the Registrar of Legal Aid Services in Tanzania, Madam Felicitas Moshi, if you can hear me, please.
Thank you so much, LSF, for organizing this webinar. And thank you also for organizing the midterm evaluation that we all needed to get a feel of what is going on with access to justice at the grassroots level. And we have actually got a picture of what the paralegals are doing right now. And thanks to the consultants. Because of time, I will quickly say that it's apparent that the consultants have actually covered every region in the country. But I think there, as someone has said, we need some clarity of data. But generally, I thank you for making us understand the situation on the ground and for underlining the importance of paralegals in enhancing access to justice. We appreciate that there are challenges that are faced by paralegals, and despite the challenges, they are doing their best. I would like to really see us coming up with the concrete, I don't know whether to call it them concrete or real challenges that are making paralegals to drop, because the drop-up rate is increasing day by day. And we have all invested our time, energy, and finances in training them, capacitating them to render legal aid services to the indigents. And as we all know that COVID-19 has also increased vulnerabilities in the society. So we need paralegals more than ever. So I don't know whether we can really look at what can we do to retain paralegals, the good work that the paralegals are doing. And I wouldn't belabor so much on whether they are registered or not, because the number of paralegals registered as of now, they're not even 500. But if they're actually working on the ground, then the end will justify the means. So I would like us to see, I don't know whether it came out very clearly, the reason why and the recommendation on how we can retain paralegals, because as we are moving forward, we see that their services are needed more than ever. As I said sometimes back, as we were looking at the impact of COVID on access to justice, people are now, legal aid providers are now going online. They're using the social media for legal services, but the indigent person that we are focusing on cannot go online, cannot access TV online, radio online. So we are actually see increased vulnerabilities. And so we need the people on the ground that can work with the vulnerable people. And as we have already known that women, the victim, they've been victim and they're continuing to be victimized as we are moving into poverty pandemic, which is inevitable given what has been going on. So my concern is how to retain paralegals. But then secondly, I also wanted to see how we can cover paralegals who are not benefiting from support from LSF, because it didn't come out in this report, but we know that there are paralegals who are members, for example, of TAPANET, and who are not benefiting from the support of LSF. I would very much love to see all paralegals benefiting from the support, because they are all working at the community. So they feel like they're being discriminated against, and I'm sure that LSF is aware of this. So as we are moving forward, if we didn't come out from the report, which I would very much like to see, the hard copy, so we can discuss on how to improve areas that seem to have gaps still. How can we include paralegals who are not benefiting from grants given by LSF? But otherwise, I thank you very much for the good work that you're doing. And I wish that going forward, we will look more into sustaining the work of paralegals, expanding the scope of support by LSF, and how we can plan for mitigating, should I call them emergencies or pandemics, because we don't really want to have another pandemic. But in case we can't, paralegals cannot meet people as they used to do physically or face-to-face, what do we do to sustain legal aid services by paralegals or by any other legal aid providers? This is what I can say for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Felicitas, our good registrar of the legal aid providers. I think she has posed two critical issues, and probably at the end you will have a response on that. How can we maintain paralegals, but also how can we include other paralegals who are not benefiting from the LSF program? I think those are the two main issues. And after that, I would like to, yes, there are some hands. I will give you opportunity, all the people who have raised your hands, please be patient a little bit. I will keep you, yes, keep you raising your hand, and I'll give you time to ask a question or whatever that you want to explain. I would like to invite Mr. Jason Potter from KPMG.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, or rather good afternoon. Can I just check that you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
you can.
Good.
Thank you very much, and thanks to all the speakers this morning. Thank you very much for the invitation to both join the discussion and forum today and to speak at this important event. I will only speak for a minute or two. My name is Jason Potter. I'm the Program Director at KPMG for the Accountability in Tanzania program. Accountability in Tanzania, shortened to ACT, is a DFID-funded governance and accountability program that works primarily through civil society partners to support citizens to access their rights and services and entitlements. And our work is particularly oriented to supporting the most vulnerable in society. Our work was always oriented to supporting the most vulnerable in society, but of course at this critical moment during the COVID-19 pandemic, then that we are supporting the most vulnerable in society, including through legal and paralegal provision, seems incredibly important. We consider access to justice very much as a fundamental right, as well as a necessary condition for the reduction of poverty. And for this reason, we're delighted to be supporting Legal Services Foundation with the important work which has been presented on extensively this morning. And what we can see from LSF's results is that they're bringing legal empowerment to communities across the country, but particularly to women offering more and more opportunities for people who cannot access the formal justice system. And what we see through the work that LSF does is that accessing legal rights and entitlements has a significant benefit to those beneficiaries beyond the immediate legal perspective. Women who are able to access land or inheritance rights enables women to start a business or to support their girls or other children to attend school. Or women who have been victims of violence and abuse may have a means to have their voice and to seek the necessary social support services as a result of the work that LSF is doing. So I'm not really going to use this opportunity to sort of raise particular points about the report that's been discussed today, but I think that there are some salient issues in there that I'm hoping that the Q&A session will address. But let me just say that, you know, from our perspective, it's I think a sincere belief that, you know, LSF has the opportunity to really expand on its good work and its experience, which it has developed over the years, particularly with its partnership and engagement with government, but to be able to deepen its reach and services and to deliver impact in the second period of the current strategic plan. Perhaps looking at ways that, particularly, you know, inspired by the pandemic, how more people can be reached with legal empowerment through remote mechanisms, how more and more people can be drawn into actually having an access to justice which can benefit their lives. So very much, you know, Act 2 on behalf of DFID is proud to continue support the critical work that LSF does. And we celebrate this today and we applaud you for what you've done. I think we say, don't stop there. There's more that we can do, more that we can do together. And we look forward to supporting you in the coming years. Thank you very much.
And I would like also to welcome Jenny from Janida. Jenny will be followed by Wendy from European Union. Jenny.
So thank you so much for this presentation, and congratulations on the very, very good report and the very good result of this evaluation. I'm very proud of this work. The report is actually very well written, it's comprehensive, it's concise, and I'm also very happy to have been able to contribute to the report. I'm very proud to see that the evaluation is so positive and that the LSF has been successful in promoting a culture of human rights and legal empowerment, especially for women. I think it's incredible the number of people that LSF reaches every year. And I think it's so good to see that the services have improved. And I think one of the reasons, which is also highlighted in the report, is the way that you work through RMOs and paralegals that are actually trusted in their community. I think this building on the trust in the community, that is a great model. You have a solid model, and I think this evaluation is actually proof of that. People are coming to the paralegals with the most intimate of their lives, their livelihood, their family relationships, violence, things like that. I think these are delicate matters, and you have actually created a model that is able to help help people with these issues and make them get on with their lives. So I think we should really congratulate you on this work. I think the report itself is a very good tool to promote the LSF and the LSF model. I think it's a tool that you can use to fundraise and find more partners. I think there are some things that are highlighted with regards to RMOs, who are, of course, a very important vehicle to quality insurance. But I also think you might be able to look at your paralegal units. You have some strong paralegal units that could actually maybe serve more as RMOs. Also, I would like to thank you, Felicitas, for your very valuable comment. And I think at one board meeting, I actually talked a little bit about this with the dropouts. I think, of course, it's an issue, and I think it's something that we are all responsible for making, you know, the legal frameworks and the funding and everything ready for us to actually being able to retain the paralegals with training and incentives. I also think that we should look at the dropouts as somebody who's not going away. They're going out there into society with all the knowledge and also being ambassadors for this very noble cause of human rights and legal empowerment, especially of women and girls. So let's see them also as an asset. But of course, it's something we should be very, very conscious about. Yeah, I think that's it for me. I just want to congratulate once again the LSF, the RMOs, the paralegals, all your partners. This is a flagship project of the Danida Governance Program, and we're really proud of being part of this story. So thank you very much for the floor.
I would like now to invite Wendy from European Union. Wendy.
Very much. Thank you to the presenters and to everybody today for this very, very interesting presentation and for inviting us, the European Union, to participate. The EU is only a very young supporter of LSF. We provide our funding through Danida to LSF, and we started that in, I think it was around July last year. So it's coming up to a year of our support. So this midterm review is very interesting for us. We're very pleased to see how well LSF has been doing and very proud to now be a supporter of LSF. I'm particularly very interested in seeing how vast the reach is of LSF, that all regions have mostly functioning RMOs, that there are very active paralegal units, that more and more people are aware of their rights and are accessing their rights and fighting for their rights with more empowered community members. This is all very important for the European Union. And this report itself will be very interesting for us as we go forward. So I'd be very keen to know how LSF will take forward the recommendations and the findings from this review. And I would be very happy to be part of the discussions on how you plan to enact the recommendations given by the report. One issue that I thought would be interesting to analyze further, the program a lot of the funding seems to remain at the RMO level. This may be appropriate for many regions, but it would be good to know more and learn exactly, is actually this an efficient having most of the funds? I think over 2/3 of the funds remain RMO level. I understand that there are capacity building and administrative issues that happen, of course, at RMO level. But as Jane mentioned, I think there are some very, very strong legal aid providers further down the administrative chain, and maybe they could take on more of the funding. So that would be interesting to discuss that further. So thank you very much again, and well done for excellent work. And yes, there's still a lot to be done, and I look forward to continuing supporting you in the future.
I would like now to invite Ambassador Balozi Daktari Benson Bana. Karibu sana.
Let me say that I'm grateful to you all for organizing this very important and informing session. It's a pleasure to note that LSF is still ticking under the able leadership of Lulu Mwana Kilala, and that is great, and the team. I am also impressed by your decision to commission an evaluation team to take stock of what you are doing, your strength, your achievements, and the challenges, and how you position LSF to face the challenges in the current era. I am very much also thankful to the evaluation team. They have done the good work in terms of reporting. Jen has said it all, Felista said it all, Wenda said it all, and the guy from KPMG has said it all.
It's 11 hours.
You have done a great job in terms of delivering to the terms of reference. That is great. I commend the evaluation team. I have very, very little concern. The efficacy of the regional mentor organizations need to be assessed critically. The concerns has always been that the monitoring and the empowerment of the paralegal units is not sufficiently well done. I would recommend that the evaluator pose a critical eye, borrow some spectacles to reassess the RMO model in terms of extending legal education and access to legal services to the countryside. Number two, the paralegal units, that has been a perennial issue. The paralegal units need to stand alone. I didn't hear any mention during the presentation on how LSF should work together with the paralegal units to have a sustainable modality that would help the paralegal to stand alone should LSF decide to do things different. Empowering the paralegal, making them sustainable units, it's of significant importance for the sustainability of the program. And again, the involvement of the state sector. Felista of Mokla has touched on it, but we would like to see more involvement. The partnership of LSF and the state sector is equally important at the local government level and at the ministerial level. The evaluators should be able to suggest the best ways, the good practice, which can enable us enhance the partnership between the state sector and the non-state sector in the provision of legal education and the opportunities to the countryside to access justice. Otherwise, as usual, I am very grateful to the LSF management led by the CEO, Lulu Ngwanakilala, the partners. I was grateful to hear the voice of Jen, Felista, Wende, and the KPMG staff in terms of making sure that the work that LSF is doing for the Tanzanians is energized, because some of us tend to take that what LSF is doing is really a noble work. We know the level of literacy of our people. The interventions that are geared at empowering them to access justice, to demand justice, to hold their leaders accountable is very much welcome in order to support what the fifth phase government in Tanzania is trying to do to build a country in which the less the advantaged people, the less educated, the vulnerable women and children and the youth are given access not only to legal services, but also to social and economic empowerment. Thank you very much, LSF. Thank you, partners of LSF. Thank you, the team of LSF, for good work that you are doing. And thank you, the evaluators, for your first-hand information. Thank you very much.
I would like to now invite all those who have raised their hands, starting with Deogratias Bwire.
Wow, thank you. So my name's Deogratias Bwire. I am representing KPMG Accountability in Tanzania program, and I'm working there as a manager, access to justice and human rights. It was a very good presentation and a very good assessment which has been made. So I have just two comments, if they are not concerns. They're not questions, by the way. I think they're just comments, which emanates from the presentation made by our very consultant. And there was a slide on reported cases by indigents to paralegals. So that slide showed or displayed some cases which have been reported, ranging from divorce, separation, child maintenance, land disputes, inheritance, etc., etc. Now, I was wondering, there is this element called the other civil cases, and it seems it constitutes the highest reported rate of the cases. So I was wondering whether we can have a deeper, a further clarification, maybe in the report or in some other coming reports, putting this other civil, which seems to be the highest, so that at least it is known what are those other civil, which seems to be the highest reported cases. The other concern is on the, I was very happy to see and to hear that the program has been aligning with government programs. But I was also very interested to hear on how the program is aligning with the criminal justice reform, which I think it's still going on under the Ministry of Constitutional Legal Affairs, because most of the issues here which are being touched on are issues, but not criminal. I think the element of criminal nature is very minimal. So with regard to the ongoing criminal justice reforms, how has LSF been aligning with those reforms and those programs which are being, spearheaded by the government through the MOCLA? So mine were just those two concerns. And thanks a lot for the presentation. It has been a very good assessment, and it's very happy to hear further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deogratias Bwire. For the two concerned, I think some will be responded directly by the consultant. But also I would like to recognize the question from Harold, I think it's Harold Sungusia, who asked that how the evaluation captured the criminal cases. I think it's linked up with what has been said by Deogratias on the other cases. I think you'll be able to respond. I would like now to welcome Dr. Frank for few responses.
Asante sana. Thank you very much, Mr. Masera. Thank you all for your good comments and questions. And I think all those comments will really enrich our report. Most of the concerns were comments, and I really appreciate for your comments that you have extended it to us for the nice work that we have done. Me and my colleague, Professor Henry Morel, who is a really consultant in this assignment, and I was associate consultant. Yeah, the most all the comments we will consider them when we will try to incorporate all the comments and submit the final report. But I would like to respond some of the straightforward questions, and the question from another comment from Ambassador Benson Bana was on LIMO, how based on what they have been doing on monitoring and empowering the paralegals. Of course, LMO, they have done quite a good job in terms of capacity building. They are capacitating the paralegal units on how they can successfully implement this access to justice program. And in so doing, they have done a number of capacity building. And this capacity building is not only on the focus of what LSF they are aiming to achieve in terms of legal aid or legal education, but also they capacitate in terms of financial management, project management. So you can see on how these HLMOs, they have done quite good job in terms of providing training to paralegal units in other issues that would enhance the implementation of the project. Also, I really agree with Ambassador Bana on the modality of making paralegal to be a standalone organizations. And LSF, in our evaluation, that we have noted that LSF currently, I think toward the end of last year, they had a couple of capacity building trainings. I think that was the moment when we did this evaluation. It was the moment when LSF was doing the capacity building training to paralegals. And one of the issues that was really emphasized in those trainings were focusing on sustainability. And LSF, from what we know, currently they're in the process of coming with the sustainability model that will make these organizations exist and perform similar activities at the absence of the LSF funding. So this is quite good, and I think we will really emphasize more on this issue in the report. Also, Professor Ban, also you have highlighted the issue of involvement of state actors. This is very important, and it has been captured in the report, and we have showed how LSF is working closely with different actors, the government actors and non-state actors. LSF works closely with the business, with MOCLA, work closely with the President Office, local government and regional administration, works closely with the Ministry of Health. And there are several MOU. The MOU, some have signed the MOU, LSF has signed the MOUs, government actors with different ministries, and the other MOU are underway. So this is already an engagement of state actors. And also for the case of non-state actors, they work with different organizations which also focus on legal issues or access to justice issues. So they are already collaborating with TLS, there is a SHLAG, so Taula. So there are so many non-actors working together with LSF. Another question or another comment was from Willis. Thank you very much for your compliments. I liked your two comments on the. This was the interesting comment. You know, it came out when we presented this report among of the LMOs, the CEOs in a meeting. They wanted to know the civil cases. But you know, what is interesting that LSF, they have already highlighted some of the common issues, legal issues that have been commonly reported. And that was, we developed our questionnaire based on what is existing. And we wanted to test to what extent those commonly reported legal issues are being reported. So all of a sudden, and what really astonished us was that there were new emerging issues, and it was not easy to capture all of them in the report. So we decided, okay, maybe this we can cluster them as other civil cases. Maybe if we want to come with a common definition of it in the report, so that it can be well understood to stakeholders, then I think we will do so when we will incorporate all the comments from the stakeholders. And yeah, there is an issue that, as you asked about, the issue of criminal cases. And also, Halodi Sungasia also wanted to know how the evaluator captured criminal cases. Yeah, you know, we were guided by the terms of reference, and this was not among of the issues that we had to capture.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
And I think because of time, I would like you to invite Madam Lulu Mwanakilala for her 3 to 4 minutes before we invite the board chair for the LSF to conclude the session. Karibu.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rama. Thank you, everybody who has given us very good comments based on the presentation of our midterm evaluation. I have to say we're very happy to hear such good comments and such good recommendations from our esteemed partners and also from our stakeholders as well. I think I will not take a long time in terms of going through every comment or every question that has been asked. I would say in general, the key issues that were raised by most of our partners are the same issues that we have also been trying to respond to. One of them being the model that we currently have, and this is the reason. This was the push behind actually conducting the midterm evaluation. We wanted to know how good, how effective the model is, and whether it is the model that we should continue with. I think the evaluation has given us very good opinions with regards to this. And also the comments that we're getting from different people have also given us very good recommendations and opinions that we are currently working on. And then in terms of retention of our paralegals and also working with other paralegals as well, we also, this is one of the areas that was very important to us, very key to us, because it's also response to the sustainability of the whole program. And there are a number of initiatives that are already on the ground. There are a number of things that we've put in place to ensure that we continue to retain, attract more paralegals, and also engage with other paralegals that we have not currently been engaging with, so that we are able to support as many as possible. But also we want to empower paralegals, and we also want to empower paralegal units so that they can continue to carry out their activities. Our whole model, the LSF model, the previous model, and probably the model that we will develop as part of the findings of this report will continue to improve, is based on sustainability. If you look at it from how it is structured and how it is actually being implemented, it is a very sustainable model. We work with the communities. The paralegal units are based within the communities. Paralegals are from the communities, and we even look at how we recruit paralegals to ensure retention and continuation of these paralegal services within the communities. But we also work with the local government very, very close. We work with community leaders. We work with the community itself. But we have training, part of our capacity strengthening program is focused on sustainability. We do have paralegal units that are very strong at the moment, and I do agree that there are paralegal units that can actually run themselves and can continue to run themselves. And this is why we set up the centers of excellence. And the reason for the centers of excellence was so that we can encourage more paralegal units to be sustainable, and also other paralegal units to learn from paralegal units that are very strong. So we continue with this. We take on board all comments and recommendations, and we continue to improve on that. In terms of working with state and non-state actors, I think this has been responded to, but it has been also the core part of how we deliver our programs. We have made sure that we work very closely with a number of key ministries. We partner with them. We have strong partnerships in terms of MOUs, but we also make sure at all levels, from the level of the community up to the national, regional level, we also have very strong partnerships that we continue to work with. But we also ensure that we work with other sectors as well. We believe access to justice touches all areas of our lives. And so we look at non-traditional sectors that we haven't or maybe have not been looked at before, such as the private sector. So we have a number of MOUs with private sector actors. We also work with sectors such as agriculture sectors. We do economic empowerment as well, because we think it's important as well to make sure that for the sustainability, that the communities are empowered, they're economically sustainable, but also paralegal units themselves can be sustainable and continue to be sustainable to the level of accessing grants and funding from other donors as well. So we continue to ensure that level of sustainability. The good thing, I have to say, in conclusion, so that I don't take up too much time, is that this year, 2020, we will also be reviewing our strategic plan. We will have a midterm review of our strategic plan, and I think this midterm evaluation findings and recommendations, and also comments and recommendations from our key stakeholders and partners also help us in terms of reviewing our strategic plan going forward and strengthening our existing program and ensuring that we are able to implement on our objectives, specifically making sure that the impact of the program is felt, the results are seen, and also that the program is sustainable beyond the existence of the LSF. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Lulu Mwanakilala. And without wasting time now, I would like to invite Madam Bengisa, the board chair of the LSF, for her closing remark. Karibu sana, Madam Bengisa.
Thank you very much, Asante Rama. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all first of all, the Secretariat of LSF under the leadership of Lulu, but also to thank our partners, special development partners, DANIDA, DFID, KPMG, and the European Union. We know that without you, actually will not be here. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all our stakeholders, especially our government partners, the ministries that we work together for your support, and all the success that we have because we work together in everything that we do. it is very difficult to speak the last because you actually don't have anything to say. But I'm very proud of the evaluation process and the report that we have received today, because it has actually given us an opportunity to see what we have done over the last few years. We've seen the functional RMOs, and we've also seen the paralegals. We've also seen the increase in access to justice and legal aid services, which is, I think, paramount. I would like to talk a little bit about the grant management system, which was also an issue which was discussed in this report, and the use of subgrantees and the cost that has been indicated by use of RMO approach. We've also seen that I think every system that we are going to take in the future strategy has disadvantages and advantages, because RMOs might be costly, but if you go directly to paralegal, LSF is also going to be costly, because we will also need systems and the resources to make sure that we monitor and implement the way it is supposed to be. But I think you will look at it, that's a good thing. When you have an evaluation, you also have recommendations, and you have other people to look at your work, and therefore they can advise you how to improve on what you do. I see the proposal on equity versus equality, on how we are going to do the grant management. Whatever the case, I think we will review our strategy, as our CEO said, and we will be able to see how we can work better in the future. I've seen the importance of sustainability on the work that we do. Whatever that we have done in the past is very relevant for the future of our country. And therefore, I think when we review our strategic plan, we should be able to see how to sustain all the efforts that we've started in the past years. With those few remarks, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody, especially our former chair, our Honorable Benson Bana, Dr. Bana. Thank you very much for joining us. We always miss you. We know you are not in the country. But thank you very much for your dedication and to participating in this important meeting. I would also like to thank everybody for participating. We've seen your comments, and you actually make you make us feel so proud. Like myself, I'm very new at LSF, but I'm very proud to be part of LSF. And I know the achievements that have been mentioned here is not part of me because I'm very new, but I feel so nice actually to be the chair of this important institution. Thank you very much, everybody, and I wish you all the best and good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Beng-Isa, for your final concluding remark. One of the key take-home for this session and the report is how LSF will take forward the recommendation. I think that's the bottom line of whatever we have discussed here today. And by so saying, I would like now to thank you very much, the organizers, the IT guys, and whoever who has participated in this session. I would like to appreciate the presence of RMOs, paralegal, because we can see even some paralegals have joined us here today. Thank you very much for the government of Tanzania, Madam Felicitas, representing the government. Thank you very much for our different development partners and all participants all over the world. We would like you to appreciate your recommendations and the comments that you have provided. And for that one, I would like now to invite the IT guys to switch off the session as we have winded up. Thank you very much.